Catherine Elizabeth Middleton, now globally recognized as the Princess of Wales, was born on January 9, 1982, in Reading, Berkshire, England, into a family that many would describe as ordinary, yet it was this very ordinariness that built the extraordinary woman she would become. Her father, Michael, worked for British Airways, a career that demanded punctuality, precision, and calmness, while her mother, Carol, had been a flight attendant before deciding to focus her energy on building a business of her own. With creativity and determination, Carol founded Party Pieces, a small company that began in the family's garage and gradually grew into a successful enterprise selling children's party supplies, and Kate, as the eldest child, often witnessed the dedication and teamwork it required. She grew up alongside her sister Pippa and brother James, and her position as the eldest naturally nurtured her protective and caring instincts, making her a guide and role model from an early age. The Middleton home was not filled with luxury or aristocratic traditions, but it was filled with warmth, love, and strong values, where family dinners were spent talking, laughing, and reinforcing the idea that kindness mattered more than status, humility was more valuable than wealth, and character outweighed appearance. Kate's childhood was marked not by privilege but by stability, and this stability gave her the foundation of resilience and confidence that allowed her to face the challenges of adulthood with calm grace. Teachers and neighbors remembered her as polite, thoughtful, and quietly confident, never seeking the spotlight but always leaving a positive impression, and her early experiences of helping her parents and caring for her siblings taught her the dignity of work, the importance of family, and the strength of humility. Though no one at the time could have predicted it, the little girl from Berkshire who spent her days cycling, sketching, and playing with her siblings was unknowingly preparing for a destiny that would one day place her at the heart of the British monarchy, admired not because she was born royal, but because she carried within her the very qualities people most admire in royalty: grace, resilience, and compassion. The Middleton household was a place where discipline and affection coexisted in harmony, shaping Kate's earliest views on life and responsibility. Her father, Michael, with his calm demeanor and steady presence, taught her the value of composure, punctuality, and integrity, while her mother, Carol, energetic and ambitious, showed by example that women could be both nurturing and determined, caring for family while simultaneously building a successful business. Together, they modeled teamwork, resilience, and the importance of pursuing goals without ever sacrificing kindness or humility. Kate often assisted in small but meaningful tasks for Party Pieces, whether folding leaflets, packing boxes, or arranging decorations, and though these chores seemed simple at the time, they quietly instilled in her an appreciation for hard work and the dignity of effort. Her role as the eldest sibling added another layer of responsibility. She guided Pippa and protected James, learning patience and empathy through the daily rhythms of family life. These experiences created a young woman with an instinctive understanding of care and compassion, qualities that would later be seen in her devotion as a mother and in the public roles she embraced. Around the dinner table, the family would discuss school, work, and plans, reinforcing honesty, gratitude, and connection, and in these moments Kate absorbed lessons that would become the moral compass of her life. Even as the family's business grew and their lifestyle became more comfortable, the Middletons emphasized simplicity, reminding their children that their value lay not in possessions but in character. For Kate, these teachings became the foundation on which she would build her adult identity, ensuring that when she eventually stepped into the royal spotlight, she did so with a grounding that kept her both approachable and deeply admired by the public. Kate's childhood was marked by a blend of active play and creative exploration that together shaped her into a balanced, resilient, and thoughtful young woman. She loved the outdoors, spending countless hours cycling along the quiet lanes of Berkshire, skipping rope with friends, swimming with her siblings, and above all, practicing tennis, a sport she cherished and played enthusiastically with Pippa. These games were more than pastimes. They taught her resilience, discipline, and teamwork, qualities that would later shine when she faced the immense responsibilities of royal life. Alongside her athletic pursuits, Kate cultivated a passion for the arts, sketching and painting scenes of the countryside and experimenting with photography using the family's film camera. She delighted in capturing candid moments of her siblings or the beauty of nature, nurturing an eye for detail and authenticity. These early creative interests grew into a lifelong love, particularly for photography, and would later become a signature part of her public identity when she personally photographed her children for official portraits that captivated the world with their warmth and sincerity. Sports gave her strength and stamina, while art taught her observation and appreciation for beauty, and together they produced a well-rounded personality grounded in both physical vitality and emotional depth. While her friends may have seen only a cheerful girl enjoying simple pleasures, Kate was quietly building a set of qualities, discipline, creativity, and grace, that would one day equip her to handle the demands of life under the global spotlight with poise and authenticity. Kate's journey through education provided her with both knowledge and the refinement of character that would prove essential later in life. She began at a local village school, where her politeness, attentiveness, and willingness to work hard quickly distinguished her, before moving on to more competitive private institutions where academic standards and expectations were higher. Teachers remembered her as a student who was not loud or attention-seeking but was consistently reliable, thoughtful, and respectful, qualities that earned her admiration rather than notoriety. She excelled particularly in art and history, subjects that aligned with her creative and reflective nature, and she actively joined extracurricular activities, where she displayed both diligence and cooperation. The structure of private schooling demanded punctuality, presentation, and decorum, reinforcing lessons of discipline and self-control already instilled at home, and these skills would become invaluable when every gesture and word of her royal life was scrutinized. Among her peers, Kate built a reputation as a dependable friend who listened, encouraged, and maintained harmony in groups, rarely seeking to dominate but always contributing positively. These experiences in the classroom and on the playground alike prepared her for the demanding roles ahead, teaching her how to balance modesty with confidence and how to carry herself with dignity no matter the circumstances. By the time she reached her late teens, Kate had already cultivated the quiet grace, humility, and poise that made her stand out in ways far more enduring than simple popularity, quietly foreshadowing her ability to handle the complex world of royalty that awaited her. Much of Kate's strength of character can be traced directly to the guiding influence of her parents, whose differing temperaments offered her complementary lessons. From her father, she inherited patience, restraint, and the ability to remain calm in challenging situations, a quality that would prove indispensable when dealing with the relentless scrutiny of the media and the pressures of royal life. Michael modeled quiet strength, showing his children that steadiness and reliability are virtues in themselves. From her mother, Kate absorbed energy, determination, and the conviction that women could shape their destinies, balancing domestic life with professional ambition. Carolee's story of leaving her career as a flight attendant to build a thriving business from the ground up became a powerful example of resilience and creativity, one that inspired Kate throughout her life. Their children's involvement in party pieces further reinforced these lessons, as Kate and her siblings regularly helped with tasks that emphasized teamwork and responsibility. The experience taught her that no effort was too small, no task beneath her, and that humility is a strength rather than a weakness. These lessons were quietly transformative, preparing Kate to embrace roles that demanded service rather than self-promotion, and to approach challenges with grace instead of complaint. As a result, when she eventually became a public figure scrutinized on a global stage, she did not falter or appear overwhelmed but carried herself with a calm dignity that reflected the wisdom of her upbringing. Her parents' influence created a foundation not of privilege but of character, equipping her with the inner strength that would one day define her as a princess beloved for her authenticity as much as for her position. Despite the steady growth of the family business, the Middletons chose to maintain a lifestyle rooted in simplicity, teaching their children that true happiness lay not in luxury but in togetherness. Meals at the family table were a modest yet filled with laughter and conversation, reinforcing bonds and values rather than focusing on material display. Holidays were joyful but practical, often spent enjoying the beauty of the English countryside rather than extravagant trips abroad. Kate wore the same school uniforms as her classmates, played the same games, and lived in a home that was comfortable but never ostentatious. This environment instilled humility and normalcy, shaping her into someone who could connect easily with people from all walks of life. It also provided her with an unshakable grounding that later helped her balance the extraordinary privileges and pressures of royal life. When she eventually became a duchess and later a princess, the public responded to her with affection because she did not seem distant or untouchable. She felt familiar, approachable, and real. Her modest upbringing allowed her to embody a blend of elegance and relatability, a rare quality in figures of her stature. The life of simplicity that Kate experienced during her formative years thus became one of her greatest strengths, preparing her to appreciate the privileges of royalty without being consumed by them, and to carry her new responsibilities with humility and grace. Alongside her active childhood, Kate cultivated a profound love for the arts, especially painting and photography, which gave her a creative outlet and a refined appreciation for beauty. She often sketched landscapes of the countryside, capturing the quiet charm of rural England, and carried a camera to preserve candid family moments, whether her siblings playing in the garden or her parents working in the home. The sheerly artistic experiments shaped her keen eye for detail and her love of authenticity, both of which became hallmarks of her later work. Photography, in particular, grew into a lifelong passion. As an adult, she became known for taking the official portraits of her children, a rare practice among royals, and the world praised these images for their warmth, sincerity, and lack of pretension. Her photographs captured her family not as distant figures but as real people, full of laughter and tenderness, reflecting her own values of relatability and love. Beyond personal pursuits, this artistic sensibility influenced her fashion choices, her approach to public appearances, and her charitable patronages in the creative sector. Kate's reputation as a style icon and supporter of the arts can be traced back to these childhood passions, which taught her that beauty lies not in extravagance but in honesty and detail. Her artistry was never about drawing attention to herself but about celebrating life's quiet, genuine moments, a perspective that continues to endear her to people across the globe. Kate's relationships with her peers during her school years further reflected her warmth and sincerity, traits that would later define her public role. Friends remembered her as gentle, considerate, and approachable, someone who built trust through listening rather than commanding attention. She was not the type to seek popularity or dominance in a group, yet the steady kindness and genuine interest in others made her naturally well liked. Teachers noticed her ability to mediate conflicts and foster cooperation, while classmates appreciated her reliability and empathy. These qualities mirrored the lessons she learned at home, that strength lies in humility and influence comes from compassion. The affection she inspired among friends foreshadowed the public admiration she would later receive as a member of the royal family. Just as she had built friendships through sincerity, she would later build trust with millions of people worldwide through her authentic demeanor. The friendships of her youth were small examples of the same dynamic that would unfold on a global scale, Kate connecting with others not through wealth or power, but through genuine warmth and the ability to make people feel valued. This natural talent for human connection became one of her greatest assets as she transitioned into a role where diplomacy, relatability, and kindness were as important as tradition and duty. As Kate matured into a young woman, her natural elegance became increasingly apparent, though it was never forced or flamboyant. Her beauty was understated, rooted in simplicity, confidence, and sincerity. She dressed modestly, carried herself with composure, and spoke thoughtfully, creating an impression of refinement without arrogance. Friends and acquaintances observed that she had an ability to draw attention quietly, standing out not because she demanded it but because her presence exuded calm grace. This understated charm showed the timeless elegance associated with Princess Diana. Though Kate was never imitating anyone, she was developing her own unique identity. By her early 20s, she embodied a blend of humility, resilience, and poise that made her remarkable even before she met Prince William. Her modesty did not diminish her strength, rather, it amplified her authenticity. These qualities allowed her to navigate the transition from ordinary life to royal life with remarkable fluidity, as she had already cultivated the ability to balance tradition with individuality. She stood out not for extravagance, but for the enduring appeal of grace over glamour, proving that true elegance is not about wealth or status but about character and sincerity. Looking back, it is clear that every aspect of Kate's childhood and youth served as preparation for her extraordinary future, though no one at the time could have predicted it. The values instilled by her parents, the bonds she shared with her siblings, the lessons of modesty and humility, the joy of play and the discipline of education, all combined to create a woman uniquely equipped to handle the challenges and privileges of royal life. Her upbringing taught her to find dignity in small tasks, to appreciate simplicity, and to build authentic relationships, qualities that later became her strongest assets as she stepped into one of the most scrutinized roles in the world. When she finally entered the royal spotlight, the public did not see a stranger from an untouchable world. They saw someone who felt familiar, someone whose story resonated with their own experiences of family, work, and growth. This relatability, coupled with her innate elegance, made her beloved across Britain and beyond. Kate's journey from an ordinary girl in Berkshire to a future queen consort illustrates that greatness is not always inherited but often cultivated through values, resilience, and compassion. Her life reminds us that true nobility is measured not by titles or possessions but by the grace and authenticity with which one carries responsibility, and it is precisely this authenticity that continues to define her as one of the most respected and admired women of her generation.